media practitioner and also the project focal person. Ugoma, nice to have you on Talk Point.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, let me start with Ugoma. Let me start with her. When you say misogyny, it's not a common word, just like I said earlier, but what does it mean?
Okay, I think you partly explained it. Misogyny has to do with prejudice. It has to do with hatred. It has to do with contempt. It has to do with harassment against the female gender. So when you're talking of misogyny, if you have somebody who has dislike for women for no just cause, you just don't like women. Some people, they think the woman is nobody. The female gender is a nobody. And so they say things, they do things, their action against them shows that the woman is nothing, so can be treated anyhow. And this usually comes from for some people, their background, how they were brought up, the things they saw growing up, and most of the time, our tradition. You know, we come from a patriarchal background where the woman should be heard, not seen. If you have anything to say, you have to tell your husband or you have to tell your younger brother and things like that. And that's why you have, some people will tell you, somebody who is bending down and weeing shouldn't talk to me anyhow, because that's the impression they came.
So you're saying now that cultural barriers could be a link to misogyny?
Oh, sure thing. We have cultural barriers, we have traditional barriers, we have even religious barriers.
Oh, okay.
All of this combined.
Yes, we'll still discuss. I hope time will permit us to do that. Let me talk to Fumi. Your own impression and what's your own take on misogyny, just like you said.
It's actually hatred for women or dislike for women. You see some people, they just don't like anything about women. They are chauvinists. So when they hear anything about women, we see their adrenaline will just go up. So the attitude has been the women should be silent, women should not be heard, women should just stay where they belong, which is the home front and the kitchen. So when you now hear some things about women doing great things in the society, doing things, some men's mentality cannot just take it, and they'll be like, why should a woman be heard? Why should a woman be seen in the public? Why should a woman get to the position of leadership and authority? So it's bias for women and girls.
Or bias against women,
Bias against women.
Okay, I'm wondering how this will play up. Take, for instance, if you look at the social media, it's always awash with a whole lot of things that has to do. So can that, or will that explain why you're situating it to the tech-based gender violence? I don't understand. We need explanation on that.
Yes, that's exactly why. Because what we had before was just the traditional media, and you'd hardly have those kinds of opinions as regular as it is on the social media. But today, because everything is tech-based, everything is digitalized, and you have all these social media platforms where people can express themselves. You know, sometimes you hear people say, thank God we're not ending up with the traditional media. Thank God we have the social media, because they have access to the social. Once you have a phone, Android phone, and you have a data, you could be on any social media handle and say whatever you want to say. And so it gives a lot of people the opportunity to say things that their biases are expressed on those social media platforms. And so we looked at it. It's not just, yes, we have gender-based violence offline, but we're looking at the online, because the trend now, from the report we did, we found out that the trend is much on social media, especially when you talk about the X, Instagram, and Facebook. So because people use it a lot, and they think they have freedom of expression, and they forget that where your right ends is where someone else's begins. So they go about talking about things and the female gender anyhow. So we decided that, yes, instead of just concentrating on offline, since we're looking at technology now. Let's try and see what happens with technology-based gender violence. And so we did all those monitoring and came out with a report.
Yes, from that report that came out, what were the things that were actually pronounced concerning violence or harassment against the female folk or ladies?
Okay, we discovered that women are being there are a lot of misogynistic statements and harassments against women. Women are harassed online. Women are there are words that are used against women that are misogynistic, and we also discovered that Facebook was the number one, followed by X, which is former Twitter, and WhatsApp, as well as TikTok. So we analyzed all this, and we discovered that people use, especially the men, they use all these platforms to harass women online and to bully them online too. And we also discovered that aside for women, even including the people with disability, women with disability are also harassed online, and there are also biases against them too, due to their nature. Some men take advantage of them to harass them online as a result of exposure to digital space. So we discovered that all these things were done because of access to internet online, where people can go as anonymous, and people can even identify themselves to talk down against women online.
Okay, I'm wondering why. You said you did your survey, and the survey shows that there were threats of harassment. What kind of threats were being perpetuated? Because some of these things are very important. And what are the misogynistic manifestations that came up, Ugoma?
There are several of them, but I'll just pick, first of all, the words, the statement. Imagine telling somebody, let me just call the Zenith woman when she was made the CEO. Most people didn't look at the fact that it's an achievement for a woman to get to that position. The next thing somebody said was, she slept her way to that position. And if we're truthful to ourselves, we know that women work twice harder because of the space where they are. You're looking at a banking industry. It's not easy for women to get to that. Instead of looking at the woman's achievement rising to that point, you said she must have slept her way. So most of the time is the words. And we're particular about the words because if you do it to people who are not strong-willed, who don't know that these are, for some people, they are just catching cruise, you may set them back forever. They will not want to show their face anywhere. They will not, because they just think that the whole world is against them. We have the ones who, like she mentioned, those with a disability. We have those, like the albinos, for instance. We discovered, because they were part of our focus group discussion, we discovered that some of them, because of their status or because of how they are, some people would claim they want to do them favors. They will tell them, we want to do this for you, we want to do the best. At the end of the day, what they want to do is sleep with these girls. So they tell them all those sexual things that would, and they are unsolicited. If it's sexual harassment that is solicited, maybe you did something that led to it, that would be understandable. But for some of these people, it is not that. So they cyber stalk some of these people and say, so for majorly, it is words that they use apart to lure them first before the
yes,
other things.
for me, when these things occur, what were the measures, or what are the measures you put in place? Because you need to also stop these things or make it serve as punitive measures against things like this. When you first saw that on the Twitter, let's take for instance, you saw something on X, former Twitter, which runs down a female folk or a lady, and people have talked on that issue. Now, were there people that were against those things, and what were the things that they said, that, or were there any apology or apologies from those that said those things?
From the people that said those messages?
Yes,
okay,
on the social media.
It happened. Initially, when it happened, we discovered that those people, the perpetrators, they saw nothing wrong in it. And they were like, it's normal to talk down a woman. And you will see a woman, and they will tell you that she looks like a wall. Her body, the way her body looks makes me have an eczema and all that, you know. And they don't see anything wrong, because it's like she said, it's a patriarchal word, and you can say anything you like against women. But after some time, thank God, we have some he for she, even on the digital space. And they came up with like, for instance, in the case of the Zenith Bank MD, some people had to go online and said, but whatever, you should even be happy for this woman in the first place, that everybody is celebrating her for a woman to get to that position. So, but for some, like the man that did it, initially he didn't say anything wrong. But along the line, his wife gave birth to a girl. And the man had to come back and say, now my wife gave birth to a girl, and now I understand what it means to now talk down on women. So he has to now go online to apologize for what he did. And the question is, if the wife did not give birth to a girl.
Yes, I was always coming to that. What if the woman did not give back, the wife did not give back to a girl? Would he have been apologetic in that approach?
Which means he won't. Because the patriarchal nature is there. His psychic is still telling him that he's doing the right thing, because he even said that I will never take the bank serious again. So you can see transfer aggression from the woman even to her bank, to the bank she works for. So some men, they do not see anything wrong in it, but you might be a lone voice in the wilderness, calling for change. So what we have discovered was that when we go online, as we are doing our campaign, both online and offline. So when we see something like this, we talk and we tell people that this is not right. You are working against communication rights of women. So this is not right. Sometimes you see people saying, what is it? What is it? What is it? So sometimes, even including skits, you will see some skits that are against women. Some they do body shaming for women. Some skits against people with disability. For instance, I know that we'll be seeing some skits around, especially for people with albinism. You know, there was one that was sent to me weekend. The man, they went to the eatery, like 4 men, they were eating, so they served them. When they brought the food of this albino guy, so he wanted to wash his hand. They were actually eating swallow. So he used the other man's soup to wash his hand. And the food, when he now wanted to eat his food, the water they gave him to wash his hand, he was now using the swallow to eat it with the
okay,
water.
that is skit.
That is skit.
Because it's not a reality.
No, it's skit. But even as skit, the question is there no good thing that they can do as skit for these people?
Okay, the misogynistic nature of people, let me use that word, which is actually correct. It seems to be worrisome to people from what you're saying. But if you look at that, I actually saw a video too, sometime I think in the East or so, it was done there was this lady that was dressing in an obscene manner, right? And this guy called people together and they were saying, go and dress well. you are wrongly dressed, go and dress well. Initially, the lady was actually resisting it, but after some time, I think she also saw the need for her to dress properly, and she started crying, and they said, yes, it's just a corrective measure for you to dress well. In situations like that, would you say they are harassing the lady when she is not actually dressed well, and they corrected her, and she actually accepted, and they now gave her a wrapper to tie around and gave her some money to go and buy good clothes
in the public? And how many men?
Yes, that's why I'm bringing it. That's why I'm bringing it up.
And the question also is, don't we see men that are not well dressed? You will see their boxer.
They are sagging.
They are sagging.
That one is that's sagging. That's sagging.
Yes.
They have sagging is wrong. But I'm not saying it's right. But you know, men are not the gender that people get attracted to often.
You are the one that is saying that. We look at those who have six packs. Our Gen Z girls are crazy about six packs. And then this is a guy who is wearing a singlet, very tight, showing his six packs. So would you go as a girl to say, oh boy,
or group of
you
girls.
are giving me, no, your shape is giving me orgasm. For somebody's CV, because that was even, it wasn't even her. They said your CV, I read your CV and it's giving me orgasm. Would a girl walk up to that guy?
Okay, I want to also put this to you. Would you say that guy will be attracted much than a lady that exposes body?
We're not condoning body exposure. What is private, I tell people, it's called private parts, right? What is private is private. Please keep it private. If that happens and you see somebody dressed like that, you don't have to call a crowd to embarrass her. That's what we're saying. Even if you see somebody like that and you need to correct the person, what is wrong with just saying, sister, come? I expect you to do this. I expect you to do this. This is what I think. This is the effect of what you're doing. Any normal person will go think, even if she doesn't think about it immediately.
In that video, the lady did not admit that she was wearing something wrong. She was dressing in an obscene manner.
Well,
and she was still arguing. It was a serious argument. She wore something skimpy, and everything, the curls and everything were showing, and she did not see anything wrong in that.
Have you seen guys who wear tight trousers that everything in quotes are also showing? What do we do to them? We don't harass them.
Yes, or this particular guy that used to do skits against women.
I don't want us to mention any name, but just speak to the issues.
Yes, but this guy always go after women. Sometimes it'll be like removing their wigs, the way the women dress in the public, and all in the name of tweets that he wants to get likes. And of course, he have hundreds of thousands of followers on the net, on the internet. But I always like, why is this guy doing all this? I could not see what he's trying to bring out until I think Oyo State government how to go and arrest this guy before he stopped that. But do we need to get to that level?
Okay.
Besides, what we're also saying is sometimes people don't even, you're even looking at an unseen dressing. There are people who dress well. There's this one in the report. The lady was singing in church.
Yes.
Nothing is wrong with her. Because of her shape, you body shamed her. So sometimes, if, in quotes, a lady is ugly to a guy, in quotes I said, honestly. There was one that said your face is looking like yam that they fired catapult or something like that. If she's too fine, she's ogbanje and mami water. If she's well shaped, you will say, she's deliberately wanting to seduce. That's what we're saying. The people who have these tendencies will always find excuse to either body shame or to insult. We're not looking at general. It's not all men, by the way, and we also have women who are misogyny. Okay,
let me ask you this question too. I'm getting a little uncomfortable if I put it that way because I have two against one here. Yes, but even at that, can men face misogyny? Can I be harassed as a man?
Yes. That's why I said it is not only men, so that you'll be comfortable.
Okay.
We have women who also have that tendency. The problem is when these men start, sometimes the women pick it up and the men take over. You now find women who have this misogynic attitude because also their background. Let's look at an example. Let's take a general example that is not even misogynic. If a woman loses her husband, they shave her hair. Who shaves the hair? Not the men. It's the women. It's the women that beat her, that tell her what to do, how she has to, her hands had to be tied for that hair to be shaved.
That's tradition, culture.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying in effect is, it's not an all men thing. We have women who are also doing it to fellow women, and we have women who will do it to men.
Okay,
because you asked the question.
Yeah, as we round up in less than 2 minutes now, what's your take? Because the government too has roles to play, just like individuals and groups and organizations, communities have roles to play in this, in the light of this. Now, what is your own advice to the government in terms of punitive measures?
Advice, first of all, is if you see something, say something. If people are doing what is wrong, let them know what they are doing is wrong. If they are saying the wrong things, let them know. We have laws for some of these things. Like I had a lawyer tell me one time, if you're going and somebody says ashawo, just get a witness that will use the person to eat for 2 years. But some of us don't know we have any such law affecting calling a woman ashawo. So it's normal for anybody to be called ashawo and it's gone. So we should look at those laws that affect some of those things and make sure we try them. The thing is, some of us don't even want to try these laws. We should try these laws.
Okay, for me, in 30 seconds, and we'll go out of.
Okay, we discovered that government has parts to play. Policymakers, educators, religion leaders, and even the media, because media is very important in creating awareness and sensitize the society about what misogyny and gender-based violence is all about. So we need all these people to come together, understand what misogyny is all about, and now come together to fight against it. We need religion leaders because these people have large followers, and people listen to them, their followers listen to them. So they need to come in so that they will know how to also be propagator of end misogyny in Nigeria.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. I want to thank you. I want to appreciate you, Goma Kuki, media practitioner and also somebody who's pushing against misogyny. Thank you for being part of Talk Point. I also want to thank you so much, Funmi Falubi, for being part of Talk Point.
Thank you.
Yes, on that note, we have come to the end of Talk Point. 767 and 112 still remains the lines to call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Ensure that you do what is right to make the society better. And also remember, don't be misogynic. Always ensure that you give fairness to all the genders. I am Omololu Rousseau saying bye-bye.